All the goddamn irresponsible things to do have my atoms scattered all over the damn universe because of that damn transporter room. That green-blooded inhuman. Oh, hi, my name's Adam Conrod, thank you. Gotta make sure that I landed on the right coordinates before we go any further. Got this from the ship. That's me. Forget it, Spock. That's me you're reading. Spock's a good guy, but he can be challenging at times. My name's Adam Conrod. I'm here today to talk about Star Trek. Why the reboot worked at first, why the other two movies didn't work, and I'm going to talk to you about that real soon. Anyways, let's get to that. And I'm going to talk about actors that was casted to play certain roles that meant well, but the fans never accepted it. I know why, you know why, and we're going to get to that real soon. But anyways, Star Trek, the very first reboot movie. Why did this work? The very first reboot movie. Why did this work? I'm going to tell you why this worked. Because it got to their very root of what most Star Trek series had left out. Captain Pike. There was never ever talk of Captain Pike besides the original series, The Next Generation, Voyager, etc. It had all the essentials that created Star Trek right from the beginning. I mean, I wasn't a fan of the design of their version of the Enterprise. It looked a little, I don't know, didn't look great, but that's my opinion. But there was a character in this reboot that they left out. Now, we all know that Captain Pike was the captain before Captain James T. Kirk took command of the Enterprise. But did you know that there was another captain before Captain Pike? Captain Robert April. He was only mentioned into the cartoon once and mentioned into the novels. I think he was mentioned in the comics. I'm not quite sure. But anyways, there was never ever any real talk of Captain Robert April, and when the Star Trek Enterprise came out, that was sort of, wow, how does that begin? Is that the NX version before the Enterprise, how we got to know the Constellational class had got out there? There's no real explanation, or is that just another mistake that the writers made in Star Trek? Said, oh, how do we explain this? He made a mistake again. It's not like the Great Barrier. They said they'd never been through it, but yet in Star Trek 5, they went through it. But yet, if you go on the original series, they've been through it many times. But yet, Kirk on Star Trek 5 said, we've never been through it before. What do we do? They've been through it many times. That was another mistake that Star Trek had made. Like in the very first episode of their Star Trek original series, when they recast it, No Man Has Gone Before. The gravesite where Lieutenant Gary Mitchell and Captain Kirk were fighting on the planet below. The gravesite, Captain James R. Kirk. Mistake. Should have said Captain James T. Kirk. That was a mistake that the writers made in the original Star Trek. But those mistakes has to be fixed as they go on, which they're trying to, sort of. And when you got the Star Trek Enterprise with Captain Archer, then you get the original series there, so, how does that work now? I don't understand that. And that's when the light bulb in your head glows, how does this work? I don't understand that. And that's part of the issues with the original Star Trek. But the original Star Trek, I've been saying right from the start, was the best Star Trek out of all of the entire Star Trek franchises that they had created. When Gene Roddenberry created Star Trek, he really knew his stuff. I mean, it makes you wonder, did he have the United States, their secret intelligence disclose files like the UFOs and how, most likely true, but are we going to see in our time now, for good reasons. But I believe that Gene Roddenberry guided us, mankind, in a better direction than where we're going down right now, and he had a better future for us. But anyways, this Star Trek here did very well when they rebooted the show, but no, I wasn't too keen with Chris Pine as Captain Kirk, but it's alright. Now, this here, remember this? Star Trek Into Darkness. Khan. Ricardo Montalban. Nobody played him better than him. Ricardo Montalban. Nobody played him better than him. Mexican actor whose muscles are really his, and he played the superhuman quite well. But when this new Khan came in, as y'all got to know him right here, what is his name? Is it Brendan? I can't even see their handwriting on this, is so small. But anyways, the actor meant well, British actor. I can't pronounce his writing here, so small. But he didn't play Khan the way how we liked him to play Khan. Khan, Ricardo Montalban played him well. Ricardo Montalban played him the way how he was meant to be, the superhuman, intelligent, eugenic wars, revenge against humanity for the wrongdoing, leaving them abandoned on City Alpha 5. Captain James T. Kirk was supposed to check up on his progress, but forgot to do so. And back at his revenge. You should have looked at what Ricardo Montalban did in the 1960s. When the writers of Star Trek went up to him, asked him if he would mind coming back playing Khan in Star Trek II, the movies. Ricardo Montalban, if you guys ever recall, he actually forgotten about how to play that character Khan. And he'd forgotten to play it to the point he had to go back and watch the episodes on what was his character about. So he watched a few episodes, and then he got into that character. But did you know, when he got into that character, he did it just like that. When he was on the set, he was there talking to Steve, how you doing, all this stuff, and all of a sudden he went to the character. He did it so well, some of the production crew was actually scared of Ricardo Montalban because he played that character so well. But when this guy played Khan, it was like, what's this? It's like you're left out in the dark. I mean, now, this one, Star Trek Beyond. It was Beyond. You know, one thing with Star Trek, to get the name right, it was Beyond. It was almost wondering, it was movie theater worthy, it was. But what did you see wrong in this movie? I can guess it right off the bat. They blew up the Enterprise the wrong way. They blew up the Enterprise the wrong way. The Enterprise is a character similar to the Batmobile, the General Lee, Kit the car, the A-Team van. That Starship Enterprise, that ship is the main character of the show, had been, always, and never will go out and be forgotten. If you're going to blow up that ship, you got to do it the right way. William Shatner. Let's show up the Enterprise blowing up here. Now, when you see the Enterprise blow up, what did you notice? He did it in a superhero fashion. He's going to sacrifice his ship to save his friend on the planet below, Spock. And when you looked at the ship, it looked realistic. The fighting scenes, it looked real. Have you seen this? Too much of a Star Wars-like image. mean, Star Wars and Star Trek during the 1980s had been bumping head to head, back and forth with the competition. But sometimes when you copy your competition, it can backfire. And that's exactly what it did. I mean, what's his name? Simon Pegg directed Star Trek Beyond. He meant well. But Simon, if you're going to blow up the Enterprise, you got to do it right. At least have an input and to try to change it in a way so fans can accept it. I didn't accept the Enterprise blown up that way. And I mean, the 3D effects, that was the first time Star Trek tried it. It was in Star Trek Beyond. They tried it. It was alright. But, hey, come on, guys. I mean, if you're going to sacrifice a big character like this, a big hero like this, the Enterprise, you got to blow it up the right way. I mean, really, Star Trek: The Next Generation, the fans wasn't a big fan of. The fans weren't a fan of the design of the Enterprise D. They weren't, because the Enterprise with the big wings and the big the warp engines on behind, on top of the wings, and the big saucer in front. But they never blew it up in a sad way that it didn't make you want to get out of the movie theater. What was that? The Enterprise D. They blew it up. Similar to Kirk, superhero fashion. It's going to die to save others, and that's the way how the Enterprise should die. Die while protecting his crew, and dies at the same time. William Shatner, Captain Kirk, did it the best. And that does seem that the Enterprise always will be a memorable moment. But I often, the Enterprise blow up, maybe should all at once, instead of the red sauce part of the time going up, but it's the hero of the show. The fans want to see it die one piece at a time. And it did. Now, Christopher Lloyd, Canadian actor. He, in my opinion, is the second best Star Trek villain of them all, besides Ricardo Montalban. Colin. Christopher Lloyd, I loved him in that movie, Star Trek 3. He played the clown properly. What's his name? That other Canadian actor. He was in Star Trek 6, the last movie before they retired. Christopher Plummer, great actor. Did you know William Shatner and Christopher Plummer knew each other long, about 40, 50 years before Star Trek even came around? There was a Hamlet play, and Christopher Plummer was supposed to do the scene. I forget what was what he was supposed to be taking part in his movie, and you know how movies work. They'll recast or show on top of the cast that they already have, just in case an actor gets sick, they gotta replace him. So Christopher Plummer gets sick. William Shatner gets the call. That's how they met each other. But did you know, when Christopher Plummer phoned in sick, that was when the spotlight on William Shatner lit up. You mean Bill Shatner could be a little questionable with his fans at times, not appreciative of what it should be with his fans, because that's one of the things that brought Shatner down. But I'm going to let you know a little secret about Bill Shatner. Did you know he wears a hairpiece? William Shatner in real life is bald. Not to be ashamed of. Actually, there's more actors in Hollywood that wears that hairpiece on their head than what you realize, because like myself, age kicks in, and when the age kicks in, bald is going to happen at any time. So he wore a hairpiece on his head. And what makes it more interesting is he did it during the 1960s too. A lot of people didn't know. Yeah, he has a hairpiece. Leonard Nimoy did too for the character Spock. You ever notice how part of Leonard's hairline was different from the piece on top? Because you were looking at his hairpiece matching with his actual hairline. And then they also wore a girdle in their stomach, making themselves look and shaping really. Bill Shatner was like myself, big gut, age shown, because he was 34 at the time when they were filming Star Trek in the 1960s. But things with Star Trek which you do not understand. Leonard Nimoy did too for the character Spock. You ever notice how part of Leonard's hairline was different from the piece on top? Because you were looking at his hairpiece matching with his actual hairline. And then they also wore a girdle in their stomach, making themselves look and shaping really. Bill Shatner was like myself, big gut, age shown, because now that he was 34 at the time when they were filming Star Trek in the 1960s, but things with Star Trek which you do not understand. Now, Scotty, Canadian actor, Jimmy Doohan, Chris Ping, with Simon Ping, I should say, played Scotty. He did a pretty fair job. So used to the original series, you got so attached to them. When you watch it, it's not the same. Because you rather see Jimmy Doohan's face playing Scotty, DeForest Kelly playing Dr. McCoy, Leonard Nimoy playing Spock. You know, DeForest Kelly, Leonard Nimoy, and Mr. Jimmy Doohan had passed away. They're no longer with us. Nurse Chapel's no longer with us. Roxanne or Troy, whatever you want to call her. Number one, but Nurse Chapel was involved with Star Trek right from the start. She was on the very first episode, The Cage, with Patrick Stewart. Could you imagine? Jeffrey Hunter. Jeffrey Hunter's problem with Star Trek was he's used to the big movies. He got out of a lot of movies. One of them was one of the world's greatest Western actors of them all, John Wayne. He filmed the movie The Searchers. And then when Star Trek, Paramount, the agents went to Jeffrey Hunter to try for a Star Trek gig, Jeffrey Hunter felt that, he actually stated this, he felt Star Trek was a step down from what he's used to. He agreed to do a pilot episode, but he wasn't agreeing to do a second pilot episode. Well, I know what he's saying, but at the same time, you know, you got to give things a chance. And if you don't give things a chance, you don't know if it'll work or not. I mean, if he would have stayed, Star Trek, you and I know, has developed to a big empire. But did you know William Shatner? Now get this. The world's greatest singer and entertainer to ever go on stage, Elvis Presley. Did you know that William Shatner and Elvis Presley were supposed to do a movie together? Did you know that William Shatner and Elvis Presley were supposed to do a movie together? Never happened because, we all know Elvis Presley's movies didn't do that well, and he wanted out of the contract from the movie business. So when the contract came up, some of the producers wanted Elvis to do other movies, and nope, he wanted out. But one of the producers went up to Elvis. One of the movies was supposed to have him and William Shatner in it. Don't know if it would have worked, but I always say, well, try Star Trek. These fans, whoa, imagine that. Star Trek became a big empire, big movie thing. I mean, can't say using his music in the show was it, but I think it would have worked for him. Now, Patrick Stewart. Let's talk about his new show, Picard. Patrick Stewart. Let's talk about his new show, Picard. Fans looked down on it, didn't like it. Me, not so much. I like it. Why do I like it? I'm going to tell you why I like it. Because it's different. Patrick Stewart, Captain Picard, retired Starfleet Admiral. But there's a beat missing. One of the famous characters from Star Trek's not there. I mentioned this before in this video. The Enterprise. Yes, the Enterprise E is most likely decommissioned. But it's a great opportunity for them to do what they did in Star Trek 7, Generations. The passing of the torch. Enterprise F, new crew of the Enterprise. Great, perfect way to start a whole new thing like the Enterprise B. After Star Trek 7, people say, well, whatever happened to Enterprise B after Kirk died? That's when the novels kicked in. That's a great opportunity for Star Trek. That's what we're going to do again. Enterprise F, perfect. But I also believe in Star Trek Picard, they should do what they did in Star Trek Generations. And I said it and said, oh my God, you can't do that. Kill Captain Picard. Die in a superhero fashion like Shatner, Captain Kirk. He'll die saving millions of lives. He'll sacrifice his life to save lives. But do it in a Patrick Stewart fashion, because Patrick Stewart is Captain Picard for the time being until they decide to recast the next Star Trek The Next Generation sometime. Probably not anytime soon, but they will. But let Patrick Stewart, let the writers of Star Trek go up to Patrick and say, Pat, how would you like to kill your character? William Shatner was a cowboy in outer space, like a John Wayne in outer space. You can't kill Kirk the right way. You got to do it right, or if you don't do it right, it's not going to go right. I always said, no, the Enterprise A should have been movie Generations, but it is what it is. It didn't work out that way. But I always believe killing Patrick Stewart in Star Trek Picard is the most beautiful moment that can ever happen, because it's going to regenerate the Star Trek fans. It's going to make millions of dollars for the Star Trek franchise. And you, the fans, are going to love, or going to want to tune in to see it. It'd be just as big as Kirk dying. It would work. But I mean, when Brent Spiner stated, I don't want to play Data no more, I sort of see what he's saying. Like in the movies, when he said, I don't want to come back from the death, he told Captain Picard, I don't want to come back. That's Brent Spiner telling the fans, I can't play Data no more because the character Data is a machine. And when I play this character now, the machine is aging. A machine don't age. Okay, you and I know a computer can age, but it's usually replaced with a new computer, and the software or whatever is done rid of. Data is actually showing age, his facial age on his body when he's playing Data. So yeah, all right. Yeah, I sort of support Brent Spiner on that. I mean, he can always come back and play another Star Trek character besides Data. What a great opportunity. Star Trek Picard, the fans may not accept it, but I see a lot of potential in that show. Like I said, the Enterprise F. Great novel opportunities for Star Trek fans to catch up on. The death of Captain Picard, again, another great opportunity. And then they got the characters in the show. Beautiful opportunity to create new Star Trek characters that could do quite well. Love it. Now, Star Trek Discovery. Now, Star Trek Discovery. I believe it's on its last legs. Why do I say it's on its last legs? Because during the 1960s, Star Trek was canceled after the first episode because the network rejected it. And when they rejected it, it created a new recasting opportunity. Like William Shatner came in the picture because he was friends with Jimmy Doohan, and Jimmy Doohan knew Gene Roddenberry. Then came DeForest Kelly, what's his name, Nichelle Nichols, beautiful young actress at the time. I take my hat off to Nichelle. Nichelle, if you're watching, God love you. Nichols, beautiful young actress at the time. I take my hat off to Nichelle. Nichelle, if you're watching, God love you. You opened the door to opportunities to actresses and actors around the world that was too scared to step up to the plate like you did, because they felt the world would accept me because I'm black. Not only to black actors and acting performers that Nichelle Nichols opened the door up to, but she opened the door to great acting opportunities to all different race actors around the world. If you're Lebanese, if you're Chinese, or from Japan, what's his name, George Takei, another great actor that opened a great door to the fans and to other great actors around the world. I mean, Star Trek creates great opportunities for people and actors, not only being a show. Let's shape the future. Let's show what it really looks like. Despite that, our future today is not going too well. But they open the door to great opportunities for actors and future actors on top of that. Did you know, when Nichelle Nichols during Star Trek, the original Star Trek, during the third season, she was going to quit? And do you know why she stayed? Dr. Martin Luther King. Dr. Martin Luther King came up to Nichelle, and he talked her into staying. And he said, don't you know what you're doing? Don't you know the great door of opportunities that you're leaving open for black actors, foreign actresses that the world never seen before? They look down on people because they're different. You stepping up to the plate fourth in command of the USS Enterprise. Beautiful opportunity for actors to not look down on themselves and accept things the way they are, and a great way to prevail in front of the world. And the network, when they heard that Nichelle Nichols on the Enterprise, she was the communications officer, but other black actors came along also, like the Cosby Show, and what was that, the Jeffersons, and and on and so forth. I mean, I can't sit there and name all actors because we'll be here forever, but that's what Gene Roddenberry was doing. That's what he was all about. Is when Nichelle went up to him, thanked him for staying, Nichelle Nichols will tell you this. Gene Roddenberry gave her a great big hug and said, at least somebody understands what I'm trying to do. Star Trek, in my opinion, is the best show that mankind can tune into and shape the future and educate people on how to put their hate aside, put all their negativity aside, and properly treat people, respect people for who they are. Disabilities, anything. Star Trek. When I said disabilities, Geordie LaForge, he had the visor on, he was blind. Star Trek made it possible for somebody with disabilities to prevail with their goals, what they wanted to do in life. And the original Star Trek with Captain Pike, Sean Fraser played Captain Pike. Believe it or not, that was not Jeffrey Hunter in that episode. Was it The Merge? I can't really pronounce it. It was a 2-episode, back-to-back, to be continued, and Sean Fraser played Captain Pike because Christopher, what's his name, Jeffrey Hunter, didn't want to come back. And he was in a wheelchair. Most people have one flash for yes, 2 flashes for no. Captain Pike. There he is. But I wasn't sure if Jeffrey Hunter passed away at a very young age. I mean, I always thought he died in a plane crash. Then I watched a documentary about him on YouTube. Then he said, no, he had an accident on a set over in Europe someplace. An accident happened, got hit in the head, he had a stroke, he was home. He had another stroke, fell down the stairs, his wife got him in the hospital, and he passed away there. I mean, Jeffrey Hunter, I wasn't sure if he was still around when they made that episode, or maybe he didn't want to be part of Star Trek, because like I said, he didn't want to come back and do the second pilot episode. It's possible. But Star Trek, in my opinion, is the best show for mankind to tune into. It's full of great opportunities. It's full of knowledge on what's out there. Are we alone? Most likely not. We often tell people if we see a person just comes up to us in a UFO. The normal response from people in our century is they'll sit there and laugh at you and say you're crazy. This is crazy, doctor. Here's your meds for you. That's the attitude of people in our century. But are they out there? Yes. Because something that we don't see, something that we think is not possible, can be possible. Because we fear things what we don't understand. That's very true. I believe warp speed can be accomplished. Time travel can be accomplished. I believe they already did it. I believe that it is possible from life from death. The body dies, but not the spirit. The spirit lives on. That may explain why Mr. Spock came back in Star Trek 3. When Bill Shatner was thinking about coming back and playing Kirk, I'd like Leonard Nimoy say, well, Bill, I was in better shape than you in the 1980s week. I came back, and Bill, he's 89, he's pretty 90 years old, big difference. But Star Trek is full of opportunities, and it educates people to not give up in their beliefs. I believe life from death can be accomplished. Once we understand the body, when you die, you're a spirit, you're an image, you're an energy, you don't go away. The body dies. That's it. But I always believe it's possible for people, if we could create a hologramic image, for them to get into that image, can they function? There they are. And if that can be accomplished, yeah. But I believe Star Trek is full of great knowledge, great possibilities. But anyways, my name's Adam Conrod, and I gotta tell you, I can't take my hat off for you two Star Trek fans. If it was for you the fans, the show would not have been the success that it is. Like this guy right here, Mr. Nimoy, I don't think another actor that will play Spock did it better than Leonard. He did Mission Impossible as soon as Star Trek was canceled. And then he did In Search Of, and did you know he played a guest role on William Shatner's police show during the 1980s, T.J. Hooker? He actually directed a few episodes, believe it or not. But anyways, my name's Adam Conrod, and thank you for watching. See you later.